recording.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So, hello, everybody, and hello, everyone from other clubs. You're more than welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Please mute yourselves. Well, I will mute you. Mute. Kune's just joined. Hi, Kune.
Hello, Kone.
Kune's probably juggling babies. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So this is Pixel Playground, and we're going to play. So for those of you who haven't joined us before, someone like Michelle, we take photos from our monthly competition last Wednesday, and Leon and I choose some images to play with. The people don't mind. No one shouted at us yet. Actually, I've had a couple of requests from people, please choose my image. And then we just play. We don't ask for raw files. We take the files that were entered, the 192 over 1080, and we just sometimes do what the judge says, and then we see maybe it works or doesn't work, or what the judge suggested. And then sometimes we've got our own ideas. However, there's one or two things that Leon and I always want to show you. It's little tips and hints. And there is one thing that Leon now wants to show you in Photoshop. So you're going to show the background, and then you're going to show the stroke, Leon.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. So Leon, go for it. You can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's a great honor and privilege. Thanks for being here. What I'm going to do, right. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Okay, right. What I'm going to do is a number of times people have had requests from judges to add a stroke around the edge of the image. And I just want to discuss a little bit about that. And I get the impression that people actually don't know how to do a stroke. I'm not saying everybody, but there are possibly the beginners that have never dealt with doing a stroke. So that's the idea here, is just to have a look at the stroke, whether an image needs a stroke or not, and how to put a stroke on. And going hand in hand with that is the issue about the color of the background when you are working in Photoshop, because you'll see now what I'm going to do. You see this image that's on my desktop. I'm going to use that image and I'm going to open it with Photoshop in this instance. And my images all come through RAW. I open them within RAW first, and sometimes I edit them there and sometimes I don't. Now, if you have a look now, you'll see that this background in Photoshop currently is a dark gray, which is what is suggested you use. But Des, correct me if I'm wrong. Salon images are judged on what color background? Are they black or are they gray?
It's black. So it's like our
It's black.
club. Exactly like our
Okay.
club. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what you'll have in the club. So in this particular instance, you've got a very dark edged image and it's on a bit black background. So firstly, the judge would say probably your image needs a stroke. And that's what I'm going to show you now. But also, do you see if you change your background color? Now, can you see my cursor on the left-hand side? It's pointing at the background of my Photoshop currently. If I right click in that area, I can choose the color of my background. Currently, my background is black, but I might want to choose dark gray. Okay. Now, they always say that when you're editing your image, that you should work on a gray. Let me just get this a little bit smaller. You should work on a gray background when you're editing because it gives you the most neutral colors in your image. If you work on a dark background, you tend to get over bright images and vice versa with white backgrounds. So it's always a good idea to use a gray background when you are editing. That's just your eyes just cope better with it that way. They call it a medium gray. Okay. Now in this instance, if I now go, the judge said put in a stroke. Now I'm going to use strokes. Gosh, I'm just going to get this. Yeah. I had this problem last time too. How do I get past this thing here? There we
What
go.
thing?
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, no, done. Okay. What I do is I select my whole image. Do you see you've got the moving ants around the edge? And then I go edit and I put a stroke. It's as simple as that. Now here I've got a 2 pixel stroke, but mostly you need a 1 pixel stroke. Okay, but make sure that your stroke is on the inside of your image, because if you put your stroke on the outside of your image, it's going to make your image not 1080 but 1082, so it'll be too large for photovolt. So make sure your stroke goes on the inside of your image. Your mode, your blending, your opacity can just stay as it is, and I've chosen the color, and I'm choosing sort of a mid-gray in this instance, and I'll click on OK when it wakes up. Now, why doesn't it want to work? Oh, there we go. That's why. Okay. So now I've to select. Now I've put a stroke border, but because it's a gray background, I can't see my border. So the only way I'm now going to see my border is if I change my background color back to black. And now you can see your border. Now that's how it will be presented in Club with your stroke border being visible. People just be very aware of colored borders are not usually acceptable by judges. Very seldom that they are, but a medium gray, very thin gray border is usually acceptable. So you've learned 2 things here: how to put a stroke, a very easy method to put a stroke, and how to change your background color. And that's it. Thanks, Des.
okay, cool. Remember you said like you were going to show the way that you did it, and then I was going to show the way I did it. Well,
Yes,
that's how I do
correct.
it. So,
Do you?
and it is
Oh,
the
okay.
easiest
All right.
way. It is the
Okay.
easiest way. There are other ways you can create layers and do a stroke via that kind of thing, but then you got to
Yeah.
remember to flatten your image and all things like that.
Yes.
But that's a
Correct.
very, very easy way to do it. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very
I
much,
think
Leah.
the trick here is that you've got to remember to put it on the inside of your image and not on the
Yes.
outside, because otherwise your image size is going to change.
Yes. So also what you're saying is you resize it and then you put the stroke on. You don't
That's what I do.
put the stroke on the
Yes.
original and then resize
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I complete my image. The editing that I need to do within my image is completely finalized before I put that stroke on, because I don't know what that final background color is going to be. It might be a dark gray, I don't need a stroke, but it might be a black, like in this instance where I do need the stroke. So that's why I put the stroke right on the very end.
Okay. Cool. Fantastic.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Stop sharing and then we'll get to me.
Okay, good.
Free Zoom lessons, Mark. Yeah, yes. Sorry. And
We'll
Joan
send you
still
the
can't
account,
come in.
Mark.
Sure. Joan still can't come in. Sorry. I clicked on Joan instead of Fireplaza now, but she said it's okay. She'll watch on the recorded.
Okay, sorry. Sandra's asking, what's the difference between a stroke and a frame?
Okay.
Daisy, do you want to answer that? I don't really know. A frame.
So I think a stroke is just one line. A frame is like much thicker, and it's usually beveled, and it's got bits of shadows. Yes. So be very careful about frames. Using frames like Photoshop and the Nick collection and all those things, they come with frames. But you haven't done that. You haven't designed that yourself, and you're adding pixels that weren't originally there, and those pixels don't belong to the original image. Therefore, they don't belong to you, and therefore you can't use them. And therefore, it's considered AI. Okay. Whereas you can add a stroke. A stroke is considered okay, but a whole fancy frame, be very, very careful of those. Okay. You can obviously do them for, your friends and Facebook and stuff, but not for competition. Be very careful. Unless you make your own. I remember Nola Mayering, she used to make her own. She used to make her own brushes.
Yes,
Did you can't use a brush unless you made your own? I'm like, no, I don't know about that. But yeah, she used to make her own brushes, and then she would, do things with her own brushes. So everything was her own. So yes.
Yeah.
All right. A couple of people have joined. Thank you very much. Keith, I'm just muting you. Right, so I'm now going to share. I'm just going to close this. I'm now going to share. Here we go. There's Zoom. Okay, Photoshop. Okay, so you will see I have, Dina, I've got your picture here. Leon suggested, oh, wait, let me turn my video off. Turn my video off. Stop video. There we go. So Leon mentioned this last time. And I just want to show you the way that I saw the other day how to change this color cast. Now, sometimes you look at a picture and you go, well, there's no color cast. But as soon as you change it, you'll see that actually there's a color cast. So Leon did suggest there was a bit of a blue color cast. So this is how I do it. You go to, now I've got all my menus here, properties, adjustments, libraries, everything here. Okay, but you may have to go up to here, image adjustments. Okay, and you go to curves. All right.
Yes. Can I ask you, can you maximize the size of your screen? Is it possible?
I have.
Oh, have you? Okay, all right. Okay,
oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you can go to image adjustments. Okay, but I've got everything here. So I'm going to go to image adjustments, there, curves. And then you take this little middle dropper here. And this is your gray, your mid gray. Okay, now I just want to show you what you do if you put it against white. It goes really weird. Okay, if you put it against black, it's okay. But if you put this, let me just go back to this. Let me move this. This is annoying. Okay, I'm going to start again. Adjustments, curves. You go to the middle and find a gray. And don't you think that's better, Leo?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So the back has gone a bit yellow, but it possibly was like that. If you did this at the Bok Gardens, there is a lot of yellow there.
Yeah.
But if you look at the bird itself now, I think is really well colored.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't want to go the gray, I did a chair on its beak, and that was still a little. So it can just fiddle. But I found like if you find like a medium gray, like even something darker. Yeah, maybe that's better.
Des?
Yes.
Can I ask you to explain what a color cast is?
Oh, okay. So if you look at that, everything looks blue. I don't know if you can see it. So it's very subtle.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what a color cast is. There's maybe like a bit of a blue there. If you take
the white balance that might have been out that caused it, possibly.
Yes. Well, most of us shoot on auto white balance, and then we're shooting in the shadows, and then we're fiddling with our settings kind of thing. So there's just a little bit of a blue overall here. And then you know if you take a perfectly balanced picture and you try this, you will see it just does weird things and it does nothing good. And then you know that your balance is actually pretty good. But in this one, if you just, it's the gray dropper, you go to gray, and then you get a much better image. And it's also warmer. The one before was quite cold.
Yeah.
So do you see the picture? You see the difference? Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
I do have another one here. So this is, I'm just going to zoom in on her. So this was taken, I'm not a portrait photographer. This was taken ages ago. And I quite liked it. It was like a bit of a yellowy glow kind of thing. But if you do this to this picture, now what you do is you go to the whites of the eyes and look at that.
Okay.
That's a very different picture.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. And that's what she actually looked like.
Different.
She was very pale with her freckles. So that's what she actually looked like. If you go onto the yellow, then it goes blue. If you go into the red, then it goes green. But if you go into the whites of her eyes, I actually think that's really quite nice. And maybe if you turn that to mono, it'll be very, very nice. So I think only when you see if it's a color cast. So that's what I mean by color cast. So that's for something you to play. Little bit advanced, but that's fine. We don't mind doing that. Okay, so that was what it was, and that's what it is now. So I think you can really now see the blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm so glad Derek is on here because I want to fiddle with his award-winning image. That won there we go.
The sunbird.
Yes, the sunbird. I'll open both of them. I'll just fiddle with one of them. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is zoom in and look at what we have here. We have a lime yellow green border. Derek, you're in trouble. Okay, so for club, you're going to get away with it. For salons, you absolutely will not get away with that. It comes up on people watch doing salon judging. They put it on a 2 meter by 2 meter screen, and that border is going to be neon in a really darkened room. So please get rid of your border. This picture doesn't actually need a border. Take the border off and enter this into a salon. Okay, so let's have a look here. All I wanted to do was just fiddle here a little bit. So what I did was I took it into camera raw filter, and I literally did this with the shadows, just getting rid of some of the shadows. I did a radial gradient to the eye, tiny bit, because you don't want it to look unnatural. Okay, so that's what it was, and this is what it is now. Very little difference, but when you're in a salon and you're being judged against the best in the country, it's got to be almost perfect. So just a little bit of shadows, I thought, and the judge did say something about the eye here. So do that, get rid of the border, and that is a surefire acceptance. Derek, surefire acceptance. Hey, Leon?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do one more, and then I'll hand over to you again, Leon.
Okay, good.
Leon's got some others. I've got this one from Gustav. Okay. So this was a lovely image. This is in nature. I also thought there was a little bit of a yellow cast, but when I fiddled, it didn't look any better. So it just started going really weird colors. So then I just left it. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to crop this a little bit at the top. If all you do is that, this is so busy here. And if you do that, okay. But if you want to go a little bit further, and I cropped it there. Now I see why you've kept this in, because this mess of a nest is absolutely beautiful. Okay. But there are quite a few distracting things here. That's very bright. That's very bright. That's quite in focus. That's kind of chopped off, and it's starting to draw the eye. So when you do this, I just thought it really popped now.
Makes a world of difference.
Yeah. Okay. So as much as I understand why you kept the nest, and the nest was absolutely lovely, it had so many things you've got to fiddle with. Now, because this is nature, if you try and darken the background, people always say, how much darker? I say 10 to 15%, because it's got to resemble the original. Hello, whoever that is. It's got to resemble the original. So if I just want to do this in the burn tool, remember burn is darken, because if you burn a piece of paper, it goes black, so it's darken. Dodge is lighten. And I'm just going to go up here, mid-tones, and really just, right, I'd rather just do like, there we go. And if you just do this, the nest is also quite bright. And I'm doing it very roughly. And I think you're starting to see some details coming up now.
Yeah.
Even the details in the nest, the details are so much better. Hi, Liz. Okay, and I'm just going to go again, kind of thing. Then I'm just going to go to highlights, make my brush a bit smaller. And I don't want to make it too gray. Liz, I'm going to just turn her video off. Okay. It's interesting to see what people do in their lives, but So like something like that. And then I was just going to just brighten this so your eye goes in. Again, it's mid-tones. The exposure can actually go down a bit. I like to do one, then another one, another one. Just go slowly building up. So that's what I've got now. That's what it was. And it's a lovely image, and it's saying so much. And it's so sharp here. But you kind of lost there because your eye's going there and there and there and all these bright little bits. And there I think it goes straight to the bird. What do you think, Leon?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And
Totally
that if
agree.
you do, yeah, and if you do that, Derek, you could possibly get a salon acceptance because it's really, really nice. You know, you are
No,
against the
good
top
stuff.
of the country,
Good stuff.
but
Not
yeah,
Derek.
good stuff. What and so do good stuff. You could possibly get, especially the up and coming will be back in the second half of the year, and that's a definite salon acceptance in the up and
I
coming.
agree.
So,
I agree.
yeah. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to stop share and over to you, Leon.
Okay. Right. There's no share available here. What's going on? This meeting is being recorded. Oh, there. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Why have I? Oh gosh, this is still Photoshop that's open. Okay. What I've got here is a couple of edits are really, really minimal stuff that I've done to these images, but I hope that you'll be able to see the difference that they make. I will just tell you about them just very briefly, and then we'll have a look at some of the edits. We'll compare them side by side, and you'll see the difference. This was Vainant's. I just thought possibly a crop slightly on the left-hand side. If you have a look there and there, okay? All I did was I did a crop, nothing else. So just removed the player from the dead center position, and I just cropped away some of this dead space on the left-hand side. People, I'm not saying that I am right. I'm not saying that you are wrong, but the issue is here, I'm just trying to provide a different perspective. In this one as well, also the space at the top, is it really adding value? So
That's
all I did
brilliant.
was I cropped the top out a little bit. That's all I did.
That's so
Okay.
nice now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much better now. Quite honestly, it draws the eye more to that white ball. I want the white ball.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Here again, just the plain crop. Oh, sorry, just the crop. Do
Yeah.
you see how it draws the attention more to the two figures rather than the surrounding? I mean, the
Yeah.
surrounding trees in the background are beautiful, but the story is there, not there.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Here also, just a basic crop, just a tiny bit of a crop, just a little bit, little bit of the foreground and a bit of the top. That's all I
Yeah.
did. Here, the judge spoke about the items, the bits and pieces on the left-hand side of this frame. So I just removed those poles and stuff on the left-hand side by cropping. It does then move the skier slightly more to the left, which is advantageous. And if you
Yes.
have a look at the white snow underneath his left hand, I've darkened that snow a little bit so you can see a little bit
Yeah.
more detail in that snow. And I think it
Yeah.
just adds a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is interesting. We'll talk about this just now. We'll get back to this one. This image, beautiful image. I love this flamingo, but it's dead center, placed dead center. And all it meant was, if it was possible, I'm not saying what I've done here is totally illegal. You can't do this in nature. I've added a bit on the left-hand side, which I acknowledge is not correct. But what I wanted to do was just to see what it would look like with that little bit of extra space on the left where it appears as though the bird is moving that way. I've also dulled the pinks very slightly. If you look at the body, under the wings and the legs are slightly softer than what they were as presented.
Yeah. Leon,
Okay.
sorry, can I just clarify when you said it's illegal? It's legal in open. So you
Okay.
can
Sorry.
do content aware full because content aware full, even though it's AI, it uses pixels from your picture. And so that's allowed, but then you've got to put it into open. And nature and open is absolutely fine. You can do that. Yeah.
Okay, but
Thank you.
not in nature birds.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this one we'll get back to. I'll speak about that again. This image, I'll also get back to this, but we'll talk about that. I'll get back to that one. This one as well, we'll get back to. This one was the original, and that was the edit. I just the judge spoke about this at the real bottom of the image, that uneasiness in the water there. They spoke about a possibility of having that removed. And all I did was I cropped that away a little bit. I also darkened the image. In other words, I pushed up the contrast very slightly. And I think it does add value.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, that's the way it was presented. And no, that was the way it was presented. And I just brightened it up a little bit. It improved the colors. And yeah, this is the way this was presented. And that's what I've done to it. If you look at the trees in the background, look at them there.
Yeah,
look
much
at the water
better
here, and look at them there. You
Yeah.
see water here. And also the thing that bugged me here was this rower looks as though he's rowing uphill, whereas I've leveled those horizons and make it look as though he's on flat water.
Yeah.
So that's all I did there. This one,
Love this pic. Yeah.
okay, love this image, but he's got a little bit of a white spot in his butt.
Yeah.
So I just darkened that slightly. I just reduced the highlights there and also cropped it very slightly.
Mm.
Okay, I love this image, but the judge did speak about this lot of empty space in the foreground and the noise in that space.
Yeah.
So I cut some of that away and denoised it a bit, and I think the eye now gets drawn to that figure in the background and those round shapes, which are really very pleasing.
I love this image now. I love this.
Beautiful. Makes such a difference to this image.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really look at it, you'll see that I've also cropped it considerably on the left-hand side, and it's moved the strong pillar to the thirds on the left. It makes such a difference to this image.
Yeah, I think also with the original image, I can see why the person kept all that space. It's almost like a leading line.
Yes,
but then
agreed.
I think that it's so empty, and then in that right there, it's so busy. It's such a busy image that the emptiness just didn't work. So sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, that's a lovely.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now this image, this is one of my favorites of the night. I really love this image. We'll get back to this. I'll talk about this again in a moment. That one as well, we'll get back to as that one. This one here, the judge spoke about, I've got another version of this. I just didn't put it in this folder, sorry. I have cropped this. The judge spoke about a big black hole on the right-hand side, which they felt was a bit distracting, which I agree. So I cropped that out, and it now moved the figure to the thirds, which I think works better. And hopefully I've got it just now. That one, the judge spoke about this intense vignette, this white vignette. I've just dulled that vignette a bit, and it's made a huge difference. And also reduced the saturation slightly. As you can see, that was the way it was presented, and then that's my version of it. Okay, now here are the ones that I said I'd get back to. I just want to, sorry, wait, let me just bear with me. These things always confuse my brain here. Right, okay. Yeah, so there are, gosh. Okay, there's the two images. The one on the left-hand side was the original, and the one on the right is now the edit. I don't know what you feel, but I feel it really draws the attention more now to the subject matter.
Absolutely.
The top of this image was a little bit indescript. It didn't have much of a story, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This one, Jammer Wynand. But again, it's just a matter of placing that player slightly more to the left and cutting away some of the excess on the left-hand side. Okay, this one was the one I'd also said I'd get back to you and tell you about. Have a look at the white under this bird's chin. On the left-hand side is the way it was presented, and there was hardly any texture visible there because it was slightly blown out. So I've just dulled that slightly, and then also I've cropped at the top and at the bottom very, very slightly at the bottom, but a little bit more at the top, and darken that area. So you see the very bright branches are now a little bit sort of more hidden away. Like Des said, about a 15% darkening, and that
Yeah.
I feel is all the difference, and especially for the texture under its chin, makes a
Yes.
world of difference.
Yeah.
Okay, then this one was one that I said we'd get back to. Um, the one on the right is the one on the left is the way it was presented. Now I've cropped it. It might be controversial, but I like that portrait mode. It feels as though the bird is moving into that space.
Yes.
And I just think it does it more justice this way. But
Yes.
if you look on the left-hand side, the whites are quite bright. The back and the wing are quite bright. So I've dulled those a little bit. And I've also put a little bit more light underneath the wing, that right-hand wing. And I think, and also I've pushed up the saturation very, very slightly as well. So
Yes.
that to me has produced a better effect. My
Yes.
choice, I mean, my opinion, but it's a matter of taste. Okay, this is an interesting subject and it's quite controversial. What is the difference here? If you look at the image on the left-hand side, look where the light is coming from. The light is at the bottom of all the droplets.
Yeah.
Now, in the morning, when this was dewy, the light would be coming from the top. So all I did was I flipped it vertically. And on the right-hand side, you now see the light is coming from the top of the drops. So the light is coming from above rather than coming from below. And
Yeah.
immediately when I
It
saw
makes
this
sense
image on
now.
this, sorry,
Yeah. It makes
yeah,
sense to the eye now.
yeah. When I saw this image presented at club, I thought, no, that image is upside down. The light is coming from the wrong direction. I might be wrong, but to me, the one on the right-hand side now makes more sense. The light appears to be correct. Just
Yeah.
my opinion. Okay, this one was the controversial one the other night. Shame. Sorry, Doug. The judge was quite harsh about this. They said that the line was going, that the land horizon was going downhill, and they had all sorts of ugly things to say. But what I did was I thought, well, I'll tackle this image and see what I can do about it. Firstly, I darkened it very slightly. You'll see there's a bit more color and texture in the sky. I straightened that horizon, and how I did that was I just rotated the image slightly so that the horizon was straight. But when I did that, the trees were slightly skew. So I had to go to the warp. I did a free transform, selected the image, free transform, and then played with warp, and then warped those trees back to the horizontal position. So now the bench is upright, the walker is upright, the trees are upright, and the land is level. And hopefully the judge would be happier now. I also cropped out the little tree on the extreme right-hand side.
There was the
And
other judge, by the way. There wasn't me.
sorry.
There was the other judge.
I don't know who the judge was. So we have a level horizon and we have upright trees, and that was what the judge wanted to see.
Okay.
Right. This one, wait, hold on. This one. Like I said, this was one of my favorites of the night, but I couldn't look past the fact that there were dust spots here. There are also dust spots, a number of dust spots all over the place. And also these orange lines are so prominent that I thought if we cropped this area away and have those lines emanating from this left-hand corner, I just feel it works. I also strengthened the colors very slightly. I cleaned up the dust spots and just gave it a bit more oomph. And I think it really, this I'd easily print and have on my wall. Beautiful image.
Yeah, there we go, Leon. Liesel. You must get
Liesel,
that.
there we
It's
go.
Liesel. Yeah.
Is Liesel listening? Is she here?
No, I don't think she is.
Okay. This one is a bit controversial again, but and the changes I made here are so slight. But the left-hand side was as it was presented, but the right-hand side, I've just lightened it very, very, very slightly. And I've
And
just dodged a little bit, just made those leaves a little bit brighter. I flipped it horizontally, yes. And
yeah.
also when it was viewed on a black screen, the edges just disappeared. So unfortunately you can't see it here, but there is now a very tiny gray stroke border around this image as well. And that's another one I could have on my wall easily. Beautiful image. Okay, and then this one. Now, sorry, I was very picky here. This is obviously an orchid plant, but this little thing here is one of those clips that you use to prop up the stem so that they don't bend over. And to me, it just was catching my eye. So all I did was I cropped it away and I just added a little bit more color. I just saturated it very slightly. You've got to be careful that these dark stems don't go too black because that would destroy the whole image. But I darkened everything. I gave more saturation except for those stems. Made sure that they didn't go any darker. Okay, this was one that I said earlier that we'd get back to. Now, I just want your opinion. On the left-hand side is the way it was presented, and my
Yeah.
edit obviously on the right. Do you see that on the left-hand side, there's quite a lot in the background that is a little bit busy? So what
Yeah.
I've I've done quite a severe crop on it, and I've darkened those background bits. And now on the right-hand side, you can see there's a lot less interruption and jumble around that beautiful flower. I've also darkened the flower a little bit and also cleaned it up, did a little bit of gardening. You'll see some of the spots I've removed and I've darkened the center a little bit, and it now just pops. That flower really pops against that beautiful green background.
Yeah, it's
So
lovely.
yeah, I think that makes a world of difference. Oh, this is that image that I spoke to you about a moment ago. Uh, you see on
Yes,
the
there we go.
left is the original image. It had this very dark blob here, which now I've removed, and it also has removed. The judge also spoke about this person being in the middle of the frame. So by removing that dark blob, we've now cut that away and moved the person to the thirds. Okay.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Cool.
I
It's a
hope I
really
haven't
good
offended anybody.
Yeah, thank you, Leon. That was fantastic. Are there any questions with that? I've got one more image I want to show you and really, really going to play with it. Are there any
Can you
questions in the
stop?
meantime?
I'm going to stop the sharing.
Okay. Any questions for Leon? No. Okay.
Nobody.
I'm now going to
Mark,
share.
what do you think of your image of your aquarium?
Where's Mark?
I do agree. I agree with that 100%.
Okay.
Does make it stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Sorry, Des, can I just check one in there?
Of
Yes.
course
I
you
see a lot of them is going quite close to what's a 69 type crop. What's your feel on that? Should you try and get to that crop to get it full screen or not?
No.
No.
No. It was
I
just
don't have an issue with the size of the crop as long as it fits in your 1080, 1920, 1080 format. Quite honestly, one of my preferences is the type of panorama type format, but I don't think it really plays a part in the final judging. It what suits the image best. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thanks, Will.
Okay. Any others? Okay. Share quickly. Share. Okay. Going to open. Oh, and this is now Joan's image.
Oh, right.
Okay. People, another thing is when you are doing raw files, please make sure that when you open it in your camera raw and it's exporting, please make sure you've got the sRGB, or even if you want Adobe RGB, but not display P3. Okay. The camera raw will often default to display P3. I have told Joan about this. So what you do is you go to your camera raw. Okay, and it's either down here. So if you've got an older version of Camera Raw, you'll see something underlined. You click on there, or you go up here to settings. Or no, you actually go to download. And then you will go here. Yeah, color space. Okay. And choose sRGB or Apple RGB if you really want to, but it really should be sRGB. And then you say save, and you do that once. And that's fine. It will do it from then on. But a couple of pictures that I've opened have come up with display P3. Okay. So this was the winning image, absolutely fabulous image. And I want to play with this. I want to show you how you play with it. If you look at it, it's quite light on this side and it's quite a lot darker on this side. So I'm just going to go into Camera Raw. I just want to even it up a bit because when I play, I want it to be all even. And I'm going to just do a linear gradient, something like that. And I'm just going to something like that. Okay. It's not ideal, but it's kind of the same now and here. Then you go Control L. Okay, levels. All right. That's quite nice. If you want to add a little bit of white in, okay, because that's what it is. And one of the judges, wasn't me, because I gave this a perfect score. One of the judges maybe can be a little bit more white, so you can do that. Or you can get a little bit neon. You can do that. Then I did this. Check that out. Yep. Isn't that fun? I quite like that. Just go to like pastels, something like that. So, so literally, this is all the levels. You can add white. You can add it, make it bolder. You can add more white and then also fiddle with the middle one. You can make it a bit more dramatic and still white. This is just levels where you're just playing and playing and playing and playing. I always say to people, that's what it was. You always push the middle one just a little bit and then make things pop, but you can make it darker. I really quite like the lighter. You can make this quite pastel. I really quite like that. So that's just taking one picture and you can get something like that. Okay. Or I haven't lightened it on the white because we're running out of time. But if you want to lighten it like that and then actually make it a little bit bolder, you get something like that. So you can get that or that. I must say I really like that kind of thing. And that's just Control L. And that's just playing. It's all about playing. Yeah, but I must say I really like that. I wanted Joan to see it, but I kicked her out of the class. I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry, Joan. Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you very much. We try and keep this to 30, 40 minutes, but then we get very excited and we do other things. So thank you. Are there any questions? Final questions? Derek, did you like what I did to your picture? Yes. Hello, Derek.
Yeah. One question. I noticed that you never too concerned about the shape of the image, the rectangle. I always try and go to 3:2 or 4:3 or something like that. Are you very freehand with it?
For what reason, Derek?
No.
I don't know. I just try and stick to those presets as if they got a ratio and they mean something.
No. It depends what the pic. So if you into printing, then yes, 4:3 is 297 by 210, which is your A4 size. So if you want to print, stick to a 4:3 ratio. But for club, you do what works for that image.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Des. And Jan, thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. And are you going to take, Derek, you're going to take your border away, Derek?
Yes. You said I must make it pink.
No. No. Okay. Cool. Anything else? That's
No,
it.
thank you, Des and Leon.
Okay. Thank
Pleasure.
you very
Thank
much,
you.
everybody. Pleasure, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you,
Pierre.
Leon.
Thank you, everybody. Leon, thank you so much again.
Pleasure.
Stop.
I hope
Oh,
it was of value, and I hope I didn't offend anybody with my particular ideas, but that's what it's about.